What's up, YouTube? It's John from TCG, Triple Sleeve TCG. Here we have another premium deck profile from recent Island Games Premium Shop Challenge champ, J. Merritt Ross. He has blessed us with this Kagero deck profile. But before I get to it, please check us out on TCG Player, Triple Sleeve TCG. Also, please check out our sponsors at Prismatic Defenders. They have a really good, awesome selection of sleeves. Kind of makes your cards shine even when they don't have shine, but it's whatever. Let's get to the deck profile. Jay, we got Kagero. Oh, I see that N right there, yo. All right, yo, let's hop to it. Let's hop to the deck profile, man. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Philly.
Yeah. Oh, man, so am I. Let's do this, man. All right, come on, let's get started, bro.
All right. First things first, we have the starter, Lizard Runner Undu.
So basically, you know, on plays, draw a card. You know, y'all can read. Let's get it right, YouTube. But I want to ask a question real quick.
Yeah.
Why not Lizard Soldier Conroe?
The draw in the early game, it actually helps you generate a lot more advantage over your opponent. And in some cases, if you would need a grade 1 or the heal trigger, you'll end up drawing into it very early in the game. So the search is not necessary. It's actually kind of a waste of a resource.
Yeah. So I get it. You basically want to make sure that you draw this card without any additional, flag. No, I definitely get it. All right, so moving on. Let's slide this over to the side. Let's go to these grade 3s. Show me the shiny.
For grade 3s, we have 4 Dragonic Overlord the End.
4 Dragonic Overlord the End. God, I love this card. The Great was terrible in my opinion, but I digress. So, what does this guy do here?
Alright, so at the end of the battle that he attacked anything, you can activate one of his 2 auto skills. Now, you can only activate one skill once that turn, but you can use both in the same turn. So his first skill is at the end of the battle that he attacked. If you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you can counterblast 1 and soul blast 1 and restand him minusing 1 drive. Got
you. And it seems like the other skill is, if you saw as an overlord, discard 3 cards, restand plus 10. Now keep in mind, guys, we play this. Well, he plays this N for one reason and one reason only. So let's go ahead and show that. Let's show these people why you play the N.
Accompanying the End, we have 2 Dragonic Overlord, the Cross.
Woo, the Cross. Ain't that something? All right, so here we go. Legion ability. When this Legions, basically we go get another copy of either the mate or himself. So you either go get the End, which is useless now because he doesn't need any more copies. So we usually just use it to go get the Cross. Is there any particular reason why you play 2?
Well, we play Grade 1 counter on the deck. It's easy to search them out. You don't need to draw into it. And sometimes later in the game, if you feel like you need to go grab another copy just to blow up another card, I'd rather it be at 2 than 3 because you don't want to see it too early to where you have to write it, but you want it there later in the game for you to set up your combos.
Solid. All right, let's move on.
All right, and lastly for the grade 3s, we run 3 of the OG.
I mean, look, he's an overlord. He gives force. Ain't really much to say. I mean, for you guys that don't know what he does, Soul Blast 1 plus 10,000 power. This is a Vanguard or Rearguard ability. And then on hit, while on Vanguard, Counterblast 1, discard 2 cards from your hand, restand and minus 1 drive. Once again, he's just there as an overlord name and to give force. Did you see yourself riding him a lot today?
There were a couple times. There are situations where you don't want to call too many cards out just to be able to use the skill at the end. And in games where you really need to keep hand advantage over your opponent, he is a really good pressure card, especially with Force 2.
Solid. Oh, Force 2. I love that for Force 2. All right, let's move on to the grade 2s.
All right, for grade 2s, we run 4 Berserk Dragons.
So Old Faithful. Can't get any simpler than this. Yeah, there's not much to say about that. Any reason why 4, or you just felt as though it was staple?
It is a really staple card. 4 because you need to see it a lot. 1 for the early draw, and it helps put extra damage in the early game for swinging for 13k.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. On to the next one.
Next, we run 3 Dragon Armor Knights.
Oh, man. So, that's not a retire card, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So, when it attacks Vanguard, your opponent has 3 or less rear guards. It gets plus 5,000 power. Any particular reason why you chose this over a card that retires?
I feel like for this deck now, we have to put in as much damage as possible in the early game. Going up against Force clans and other clans like that, if they're on a 9k or a 10k, this hits for an easy one card to guard, 5k. If you throw a good booster behind it, like Airmo, it can easily swing for 26 with a trigger 36.
Solid, solid. All right, so what's next? What's next? I know that's not it. That's only 7, man.
All right, next for the grade 2 spots, we run 2 Dragon Full Armor Clusters.
All right, what does this guy do?
On place, Vanguard Rearguard Circle, you can Soul Blast 2 cards, retire one of your opponent's units, and check the top 7 cards for an Overlord and add it to your hand.
Oh, man, top 7? Man, that's like, you easily got to hit one. Don't you play like non-Overlords, yo?
Yes.
All right, cool, solid, solid. And, oh, when your opponent has no rear guards, this unit gets plus 3k. How often does that actually come up?
It actually comes up a lot. You're playing Kagero. People don't want to lose their pieces too early in the game, so they will hold on to them. Therefore, that's allowing you to get free 13k swings in very early in the game.
Solid, solid, solid. All right, so rounding off, last grade 2 of the deck.
2 Dragonic Burnout.
Oh, man, I love this card. I mean, look, guys, you saw from the last profile, Counterblast 1, put a grade 2 or greater card from your drop to the bottom, retire. Now, I see that you played, you know, the Dragon Armor, Full Armor Knight. Pretty sure that's how it was. Would you ever play more Burnout than these 2? Was it sufficient for you to only play 2?
I saw the 2 very frequently. I feel like you would only need the 2. You can play more if you want. It's just player preference at that point. But he helps send back your 3s, your other 2s that you need to draw back into. You will cycle through the deck a lot, so it's helpful to have that extra recursion in the deck.
Solid, solid, solid. All right, moving on to the grade 1s.
For grade 1s, we run 4 Flame of Hope Air Mode.
Staple. Nice draw card, nice counter charger, good booster. Honestly, he's one of the best support that Kagero got.
Yeah, you can't play the deck without Air Mode.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right, next for grade 1s, we run only 3 Sable Dragon.
3 Sable Dragonood. Man, on hit, draw a card if a thing gets retired. Why only 3?
You could play 4, but you need a lot more grade 1 space. You can either go with 4 of this and 3 Airmo, but honestly, Airmo is just a better card for the counter charge.
I do like counter charging.
All right. Next up, we also run 3 Lizard General Combo.
Cool, OG card. I'm guessing this is how you get your Overlords the way you want them, right?
Yes.
Now, the counter charge skill, did you use it frequently today?
It came up quite a bit. In early turns where you have to use your counterblast and your opponents are damage denying you and you go for your Overlord grade 3 turns, he helps you get back that extra resource that you need in order to put more pressure on your opponent.
Solid, solid, man, solid. And rounding off the grade 1s.
Alright, rounding off the grade 1s, we have this Spicy Tech. We run 3 grade 1 PGs in Dragon Dance.
Oh, that's the new one. So on top of it being a Sentinel, what's the other skill?
On place, Vanguard Circle, you can draw 1 card and discard 1 card.
And how often was that good for you?
I used it in half of my games today.
Did it help you fix your hand at all?
Yes. There were times where, you know, you needed that extra grade 2 or you needed to get into your grade 3s. Riding this card over the starter to draw essentially 2 cards just helps you dig further into the deck to find your pieces. And I rarely found myself ever G-assisting or bricking.
All right, solid, solid. That ends up the grade 1, so let's see what your triggers look like.
Of course, we run 4 heal triggers.
Yep.
They're heal triggers.
Yeah, heal triggers, yo. Heal triggers.
And we run 4, 8.
Oh, man. Don't tell me.
12 crits.
Man. Any reason for this? You didn't want to play stands. You didn't want to play draws. Just 12 crit. You didn't want the game to last.
12 crit. You got to get your opponent out of the game as quickly as possible.
I hear that, yo. I hear that. Man.
Kagero is not a deck that plays the late game very well. You want to get in, deal damage, get back out, extend hand for the handshake.
Man, extend hand for the handshake. All right, cool. I can dig it. Let's move on to this G zone. Let's see what you got over here.
All right. Next, for the G zone, we run 3 Dragonic Overlord, the Purge.
Man, I haven't seen this card be used so long. All right, so please give us a refresher of what the Purge does.
All right. Once per turn, act ability. You can take an Overlord from your hand, throw it into your soul, flip 1 card in your G zone, and if your opponent is at 4 or less, you deal them 1 free damage, and their trigger effects are nullified.
I don't know about y'all YouTube, but I like free. 1 deal damage, and that trigger effect is nullified. Very important.
And
so if they check that heal, forget about it. What's that spicy GB3 skill?
Yes. GB3, continuous. His drive check equals the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone.
Oh, man. So, all right. So, funny thing I'm going to ask you. Have you ever had to drive check less than 3 because of his effect?
No, actually.
All right, cool. Solid. All right, let's see what else we got.
All right. Moving on. We run 3 Flare General Dumjit Valor.
Oh, man. Dumjit grew up. All right, tell us what Dumjit does, man.
All right. On place, counterblast 1. Flip a card in your G zone, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and retire it, as well as check your drop zone for a number of sentinels. For each one, he gets plus 15,000 power.
Oh, so he gets strong.
As well as another auto ability that's once per turn. When your opponent will call a sentinel or G Guardian to the Guardian Circle, once per turn, he can restand for -1 drive.
Man, so he becomes twin drive. No, man, that's solid. I'm assuming he's taking a lot of your games, especially with Force 2 today.
Yes, he has.
Man, that's good. All right, what else you got to show us?
All right. We also run, as a backup, 3 Flare Arm Ziegenberg.
Man, I mean, come on, man. We all know what Ziegenberg is. He's another restander. He also retires. You know, same old. Do you go into him anymore, being as though you have Dumjit?
Yes. There are times when you don't want to rely off your opponent calling down a Sentinel for a restand just to put extra pressure on the turn. So we go into him, blow up whatever they have, and we get the restand regardless of what they do.
Solid, man. Solid. I'm definitely down with that.
All right. Next, we run 1 Progenitor Dragon of Lightning Flame Gilgal.
Oh, Gilgal. It's the brawler card done right. So this card right here, basically Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, Act Ability, fights everybody on the board. And he gets plus 10,000 power. For every attack that hits, he countercharges 1. So, you play the Legion. How's this card working out for you?
It actually works out really well, especially sometimes during the first stride. If your opponent decides to rush you, or they're playing a deck that calls a lot of units, like the token rush going around for Neo Nectar, he can help clear your opponent's board without you having to expend a lot of resources. And yes, the Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1 is kind of heavy, but he literally refreshes that cost for you.
Solid. I'm down with it.
All right. And the big red button.
The red button? Oh, man. Yeah, everybody knows what Drachman does. You know, he's a standard Zero Dragon.
Nothing to really say about him. Next, G Guardians. We run 1 Absalom.
So you ever think you would ever play 2 of these?
I did, but there are so many situations where you only need it once. You'd rather have more options in your G Guardians than just getting the shield. such as the other cards that we're about to get into.
Solid.
All right. We also run one Defeat Flare Dragon.
Oh, I love this card. This is the one that sweeps the back row, right?
Yes.
And what, you got to have, what, 2 or more grade 3 or greater flame dragons? Send them back to the deck?
Yeah. It helps recycle your overlords, as well as get rid of any units in your opponent's back row, whether they have resist or not. It kills their high power boosters, so such as things like Bermuda, if they're running the Melody play, and Token Rush. It can help sweep out your opponent's back row, so you don't have to worry about too many big numbers coming your way. It makes turns a lot easier to guard.
Oh, solid, solid, solid. All right. What else you got? I know you got one last staple G Guardian for us.
And last but not least, we run 3 Denali Griffins.
Mr. Chicken. You know what? I love this card. This is like the best / worst thing they could have ever gave Kagero. But I mean, you guys already know what it does. Counterblast 1. When it plays on Guardian Circle, it's basically a Sakuretsu armor for Vanguard. You know, but it is what it is. But so tell us, what was your overall record today?
I went undefeated today.
How many rounds?
A total of 8 rounds in total. 5 rounds of Swiss, cut the top 8, and it was actually a really good time. There were a lot of meta decks going around, of course, a lot of hard to deal with decks, and Kagero is one of the decks that can actually deal with the meta pretty well, in my opinion. It's just a matter of how you build it and how you play it.
All right. Thank you for your time, sir. Anyways, check out our channel. Like this, hit like, comment, and subscribe if you may. And if you also can, just do me a little favor and hit that bell for any notifications in the future. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.